conversation.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Welcome to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. I'm Jamie Council, and we're joined by Derrel Ebert of the Dust Devils. How's it going, Derrel?
It's going great, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's starting to warm up, so I have no complaints, and that means it's baseball season.
Indeed, yeah. The weather so far has been great. Our first 9 home games, we couldn't have asked for better weather.
How long have you been with the Dust Devils organization?
Ooh, great question. I think it's almost 20 years now, from 05 and 06 season, and then from 2010 on. So what is that, 17 years?
So 17 years. You've seen a lot of changes. So it's funny, whenever a change comes in, you have literally, maybe not literally, but you've seen a lot.
Definitely, yeah. I can remember back to the early days when we first got here in 05. The sunshade wasn't even here. And to see that come in, that was a huge game changer to the ballpark, to our business. I mean, it really opened up the whole third base side for us to be able to have people sit over there comfortably and also safely and not be afraid of getting hit by a foul ball because they're blinded by the sun. And then fast forward to today, now we have netting all the way around. So the safety is even more so better here at Gesa Stadium. So those are really huge improvements. And this year, I think really the one that stands out for me of improvements this year is moving the outfield wall in. So we were 335 on the old wall, and moved it into 320. And it is already, we've seen it in just 9 home games. The games are way more exciting. Just the other day, we were down 5-0. And quite honestly, if we were down 5-0 last year, I would have thought there's no chance this is happening. But in the new ballpark and in the way it's configured now, the big innings are there. And they're there for both sides. Don't get me wrong on that. But the fact that we have a chance and everybody has a chance to have that comeback is really special now and kind of neat to see.
Making Gesa Stadium the best it can be to another level. So what are some of the changes that people can expect?
Yeah, we're almost done with all of them. So the requirements from MLB, we're almost there. Really, the only piece that's really left is a new batting cage. So we'll have a new batting cage. Currently, it's looking like we're going to put it in left field in the grass area. So up on top of the hill where we kind of start Dusty's Dash, we're going to have it up there. So once that's done, we're pretty much there, which is really exciting, which means we'll have a compliant facility here, and all of that secures baseball here for, many, many years to come.
And that was a question mark at one time when the Dust Devils were on the chopping block. We had many conversations during that time. And then the realignment came, moving to high A, the Angels. You're an Angels fan, so it all kind of worked out itself. So what does that mean just to get to where you are from where you've been?
Yeah, it's really remarkable. And looking back to our previous ownership group in Brett Sports, they did an amazing job. We worked really hard on keeping baseball here through that transition, and really Brent Miles was the one that really brought that home, and then getting into the new improvements that had to be done. There was a lot of money that needed to be acquired and found, and the city of Pasco was a huge piece of that, a huge partner in making that happen. And then also Brent and some other leaders in our baseball community here in the state of Washington went and fought hard to get the state to also contribute to some of these improvements to keep baseball not only here but all throughout the state, the professional baseball teams, to keep them compliant with MLB.
How does the change in ownership impact the Dust Devils?
Yeah, it hasn't had a huge impact at this point. I think for our fans, it's had zero impact, I think, just from the standpoint that we are all still here. It was pretty much, except for Brent, was a full staff, retention here. So we have everybody back, which is great. So not a huge change. I think moving forward, there may be little changes here and there, but I think they're going to be all in positive ways. Diamond Baseball Holdings is very committed to, really building up the fan experience. So I think we're going to see even more of that. The resources that they have are certainly larger than what we had before. And I think it's just, we'll see how it all plays out. But I really think there are a lot of positives coming forward.
So your role as president of the Dust Devils, this is a year-round thing. I know baseball season, that's when the fans come out. That's when they get to do Dusty's Dash, all of the fun games. But what do you do year-round with the Dust Devils?
That's a great question. I'll start with, I had a fan this year at FanFest ask me, oh, well, when did you get to town? And I had to pause. I was really confused. And then it dawned on me that a lot of people don't realize that we are here 12 months out of the year. Like, I live here. Like, the Pasco is home for me. So it was pretty interesting to hear somebody say that. But, it is a grind all year long. I mean, as soon as the season ends, we are right into, especially now that we're full season, we are right into the next step of that. And that is planning for the next one. And I've often said this to people, especially family. They ask me, what do you do? And, when I'm talking to people, it's kind of like planning a wedding, but you never get married. You're constantly, and you have the wedding, you have the party, but like, you're never committed, because one season's over and you start the next one, and we just keep planning.
That is a very good analogy. And with this year, you guys plan a lot of fun things for the fans. What can fans expect this year from Dust Devils baseball? What do you have on the docket? Things to look forward to. I know there's always something fun going on over at Gesa Stadium.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the classics are certainly back, with Family Feast every Friday night, fireworks every Saturday night. But we do have one really special night that is going to be planned, and I don't have the date right now. But we're going to have what we believe to be the first ever drone show in the Tri-Cities. So we're really excited about that. And it's going to be a full-blown drone show that, like, you'll see various shapes and various different things. I forget the number, but it's, I think, 100+ drones that are here doing the show. So it's really exciting that we're bringing something like that to the Tri-Cities and to Gesa Stadium.
Well, something to look forward to. Always something fun going on over there. You're a busy guy, Derrel. We appreciate your time, and looking forward to seeing you later this summer.
Same here. Thank you, Jamie.
Again, that's Derrel Ebert, president of the Dust Devils. When we come back, we'll hear from Erik the Peanut Guy. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Craven Cheesecake? Krispy Kreme's Craven Cheesecake Donut Collection is here, April 22nd through May 4th. And don't forget our Anytime Dozen deal. You can snag a second dozen of our original glazed for just $9.99. Need funds? Our fundraising program is easy and profitable. And remember, military, police, and EMS always get 10% off at your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Inconveniences can happen at, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
Time again for a minor league promotion of the week. This time, Shay and I are focused on the new look of the former Tri-City Dust Devils, Angels High A affiliate. They became the Columbia River Rooster Tails tonight against Everett.
That's right. The Rooster Tails is the name locals use for the wake of the water behind hydroplanes, boats. For nearly 60 years, it's become part of summer on the shores of the Columbia River in Washington State.
The Tri-City Dust Devils featured on SportsCenter. What do you think of that?
I love it. We're finally getting the attention we deserve. It's awesome.
The Dust Devils deserve it. So we're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. I'm Jamie Council, joined by Eric Mertens, better known as Erik the Peanut Guy. Thanks for being here.
Hey, of course. Thanks so much for having me. I love what you do for sports in our region, and it's an honor to be here.
I appreciate that. And with the Dust Devils being honored on SportsCenter, fun talking about the Rooster Tails, the alternate identity, and you being from the Tri-Cities, growing up watching the Dust Devils. What do you think of what they've kind of molded into, where you have the Dust Devils and you also have the Rooster Tails and the Veneros Day Tri-Cities as their alternate identities that kind of make up the trifecta of the organization?
The Tri-City trifecta. I love that. That's great. Yeah, I am so grateful for the past 25 years. Next season will be the 25th season of Tri-City Dust Devil baseball. And I moved here when I was a little kid. And, the Tri-Cities has a long history of professional baseball. But when I moved here in the late 80s, that was like right in the window there's like a 5 or 7 year window where we didn't have a baseball team. And so that's what I thought was the norm, but it just happened to be when I moved here. And so the fact that the Dust Devils have been here for so long, we continue to grow every year. We continue to grow our attendance and our reach in the community. And a big part of that are our fun identities, the Rooster Tails, the Veneros, along with our classic Dust Devils. I'm just so grateful.
In segment 1, I talked with Derrel about the changes to the ballpark. As you said, they're constantly changing, constantly getting better. What do you think of what Gesa Stadium, the improvements made over there now that you've been in person and seeing everybody be able to experience it in person?
Yeah, I am so blessed to call Gesa Stadium my daily office. I mean, I work at a desk, but anytime I want to stretch my legs, I can walk out there and just look at the field. And I was walking over for this interview, actually. I passed the field, and there's even more improvements during this off week. The guys are on the road this week. And so we don't sleep, man. Our head groundskeeper, our stadium operations guy, they're continuing to put things up. This is the best the field has ever looked. It's amazing. Brand new outfield wall, brand new batter's eye, brand new lights, brand new netting, which is really easy to see through. It's great. We are going to be getting a new sound system later in the season, but just today they're putting extra padding around like the warning track, and it just makes the visual experience of coming to a game even better. Every season, more and more things are added or improved, and it becomes more and more of a big league experience. We're a minor league team, and we love being a minor league team, but it looks like a big league operation.
It is a year-long operation. They're on the road, but you're still doing stuff. So what does your position look like when people aren't watching you with the microphone?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. I've been really blessed to be the on-field host and a peanut vendor for since day one. So this is my 25th year with the team. But more recently, about a year and a half ago, I joined the front office team. So I have year-round presence at the ballpark now, which is a dream come true. I used to work in ministry during the school year, so campus ministry up in Spokane or here in the Tri-Cities. And then in the summers, I'd come and work with the Dust Devils, but now I'm here year round. So we have a growing team. We have about 12 full-time front office staff, and everyone has a really important role. We work together, but we have multiple departments. I'm kind of a one-man department right now, and maybe it will grow to be more than just one person. But I'm the director of fan experience and community relations. And so fan experience is kind of the show of a game. So when you come to a game, what is your experience? And then the community relations half of it is the things out in the community away from the ballpark.
In this question, I feel like most people know the Dust Devils, have been to a game, have experience, because people see what you do, and people come to the ballpark not just for great baseball to see, future major leaguers, but also just for the experience. It's fun being out at Gesa Stadium. So what are some of the things that people that haven't come to a Dust Devil game can expect to experience a night at Gesa Stadium?
What a great question. That goes right to the heart of why I love minor league baseball. And if anyone's been to any minor league baseball game around the country, they know that the minor league teams don't really control the players on the field like major league teams do. But what we can control is the fun surrounding the game. So the in-between innings games on the field, your food and beverage, the fun things to do on the concourse, the music, the lights, the show of the game. And so like most every minor league team, we really put a lot of effort into those elements. But I think the thing that helps the Dust Devils stand out is our real authentic sense of community. We don't just want to entertain you. If you come to a game, we want you to feel like you're part of the family. And so from the top down, our team president, Derrel, our general manager, Ann, and all the way down to game day staff, which I was for over 20 years. I was just a peanut vendor, and, the cleanup crew, everyone wants to have that personal touch. And so we don't want you just to leave saying, hey, that was fun. Whether or not the Dust Devils won, I had a good time. Of course, we want you to think that, but we want you to think more like, oh my gosh, they really cared about me as a person, or they looked out for my little kid, and maybe the little kid got to do something fun, or maybe they got a little squishy ball, or some sort of experience where they know it's more than just entertainment. It's really community.
And you've been doing this for more than 2 decades, been around minor league baseball for more than 2 decades. How has it changed in your eyes the most?
Well, when I look back over 2 decades, I'm just filled with gratitude. I think there's more and more unity amongst all minor league teams. And some people can see that for better or for worse. I don't think it is... I don't think it's too much of like a bland conformity. I know some people are worried about that with the changes in the past few years. I still think a minor league baseball team is the best expression of a local identity. So if you go to a minor league game in Hickory, North Carolina, it's going to be different than coming to a game in the Tri-Cities, Washington, or Spokane, Washington. But even though there's those unique expressions of community and identity, there's a lot more collaboration. And I think the profile of minor league baseball in general continues to rise. Like that clip from SportsCenter featuring the Rooster Tails. They feature a minor league promotion every week, and we happened to be the one this last week. And so the profile, the excitement for minor league baseball continues to grow. There's a lot more collaboration. And I think things are continuing to get polished. Like we want a minor league experience when you bring your family out to a game, or your friends, or come by yourself even, to be kind of a fun, relaxed atmosphere in your local hometown. But you also get a sense that you're part of something bigger. You're part of something special with minor league baseball.
So it's more of making the big time where you're at because you're getting a better product with some things being more like Diamond Baseball Holdings, where everybody's thinking that it's all the same, but you're still a part of it. Derrel Ebert's still a part of it, and still a part of it. You still have your unique identity, even though it's not as local, quote unquote, of a actual owner.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, you've probably referenced it. We have a new owner this year. We were really blessed to be with Brett Sports for 20 years, and they're a regional ownership group. They're not just Tri-Cities. They have the teams in Spokane. They had a team in California, and now we're part of the Diamond Baseball Holdings family, and that's a nationwide ownership group. So while the ownership kind of moved from regional to national, the management, which is us in the front office, we are all very local. And I was really impressed. There's some Diamond Baseball Holdings staff that came to our opening day, and I was kind of interested to see how that would go. And they just loved being part of the Tri-Cities experience. And then the next week, they were going down to San Jose, California, or up to Vancouver, British Columbia. So they're getting all these experiences, but they want to empower us to continue to be Tri-Cities team. And I'm really excited for that with the resources they have and their support.
So you have the week not off, but not on the field as the Dust Devils are in Hillsboro. But next week is a big week as Tri-Cities returns home and is playing Spokane. That's always such a fun series to watch.
It is, man. You know, like both my parents grew up in Spokane. I went to Gonzaga. I worked at Gonzaga for 10 years, so Spokane's near and dear to my heart. But there's this natural kind of relationship between Spokane and Tri-Cities. We're the two biggest markets in Eastern Washington. And on the hockey, on the ice, it can get kind of aggressive, but it's fun. It's a fun rivalry. And I think on the baseball field, there's still kind of that rivalry. It's not nearly as aggressive, but like my granddad, who passed away when he was in his 90s, remembers going to Spokane Indians games when he was a boy. The Spokane Indians have been around a long time. And, the Tri-City Dust Devils now we're starting to get up there in the decades as well. And so what I love about minor league baseball is it connects communities. And like me, I'm sure a lot of our local Tri-Cityans have friends or family in Spokane, or maybe they lived there or vice versa. So it's always fun. And we have a lot of fun promotions next week, too. We're celebrating Cinco de Mayo weekend, playing as the Viñedos de Tri-City, our alternate identity that celebrates our local Latino community. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So the series kicks off next Tuesday at 6:30. And then the series runs through next Sunday, the Dust Devils and the Spokane Indians. Erik the Peanut Guy, Eric Mertens, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jamie. And once again, thank you for everything you do for our region and for the sports, culture, and community. This is awesome.
Inconveniences can happen at, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
Craven Cheesecake? Krispy Kreme's Craven Cheesecake Donut Collection is here, April 22nd through May 4th. And don't forget our Anytime Dozen deal. You can snag a second dozen of our original glazed for just $9.99. Need funds? Our fundraising program is easy and profitable. And remember, military, police, and EMS always get 10% off at your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
We're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. Jamie Council, joined by Dan Bilardello, manager for the Dust Devils. Thanks for being on the Sports Council.
You got it, Jamie. This will be fun. Here we go.
Here we go. Welcome to the Tri-Cities as well. You were originally drafted by the Mariners, didn't spend time in Washington, but you did play in the Northwest League. So how are you liking being back in the Pacific Northwest?
Grew up on the West Coast, so enjoy this, the whole West Coast, the trees, the mountains. I've been in Florida for about 30, almost 40 years. So a lot of flat country there and palm trees, but it's a beautiful area out here. Started my baseball career in Lethbridge, Canada, and played in the Pioneer League there. And then, I managed out in Great Falls, Montana 1 year when I was with the Dodgers. So the whole West Coast thing is really, it's pretty. It's a little different, still a little chilly for me. I've got my my little beanie on just because it's not really cold in the room. I'm trying to give the Cowboys some luck coming up tomorrow night. But I loved it. And then Seattle was my first draft. Didn't sign, and then went into a secondary phase. We talked about that. There was like 3 drafts back then, and Dodgers ended up grabbing me, and it was the start of a long career in baseball. I didn't know it would go close to 40 years now. This is my 40th year. So I'm very blessed that it's been able to, last that long.
Yeah, it's amazing. And reading an article about you when during the pandemic, you thought that was going to be the end for you in baseball. You were actually working at a golf course, and you mentioned it. I was going to talk about it later, but you're wearing your Cowboys beanie for those that are watching this show on YouTube. So you're a Cowboys fan too. You're a golf fan, but you're staying in baseball.
Yeah, I love baseball. I mean, I think I've always liked the cerebral part of baseball. I think that's a kind of a thing that players need. It's nice to have all the ability in the world, but to be able to know the game, see the game, that's important, especially if you're going to coach or mentor young players. And I found that to be, I don't want to say easy. I don't want to make it sound like, oh man, it came easy to me. No, there were a lot of mistakes made, especially when I started managing and coaching, when I got out of playing. But I had a lot of great mentors who I was able to work with. Jim Leland in Pittsburgh, I love that guy. Terry Collins was another guy I had. Buck Rogers in Montreal. You learn from people that were really good at their job. And I also learned from people that maybe weren't as good at their job, especially, when I was thinking about it back then. I always said I don't want to do that if I ever manage, and I'm not going to mention names, but those people helped me too. So it helped me, get me in the right direction to managing and coaching players. And I think, as you well know, if you're a leader of any group, you need to be able to be a people person, be able to understand people, be able to interact, all those type of things. So it really helped me playing for different personalities, and I've just kind of carried that all the way through. And not to say I didn't make mistakes when I first started managing, because there were certain things I would definitely handle different if I was back then. No different than me being old and going, man, I wouldn't have done that if I was 16 or 17. You just know better. So experience in life helps. So I've enjoyed this long run, and I hope to do it for a long time. And by the way, though I was at a golf course, which I did, I also sold cars for a year before I got back in. So it was interesting, life without baseball.
Pandemic was an interesting time for everybody. And it's not quite to the day because it was April 11th, but I was calculating in my head 42 years since your MLB debut with the Reds on April 11th, 1983.
Yeah, it was a cold day. Dickie Knowles was pitching that day for Chicago. The only reason I remember that, well, was my first game. And first at bat, I got a hit. And so it's a pretty cool experience. It's something that you always dream about. When you're a young kid, you always have dreams about doing stuff and playing sports and being a professional. And, back then one game a week. It was on the Saturday game of the week. Kurt Gowdy, all the guys, all the broadcasters back then. It was just one game. And now, you can watch a game every night. I mean, things obviously have changed, but it was something that I always enjoyed. I liked baseball. I loved football. I mean, I played football all the way through junior college, and actually ended up playing football after I had signed. I came back and played again another year, which didn't make my scout real happy with the Dodgers, but I really enjoy football. But baseball has really been a blessing to me. I'm just very thrilled that it's been able to last as long as it has, and my health has been good. I still have energy to do it, and working with the young kids, it's a lot of fun.
A catcher in baseball. What position did you play in football?
I was actually I was a cornerback, so people may laugh at that. We played a lot of zone defense, by the way, so not a lot of man-to-man. And I actually punted also in junior college, and then in high school I was our quarterback. I went to a really small high school. There was, I think, 200. My graduating class, I always say I was in the top, 15, 20% of my class, but there was only 34 people that graduated in my class. So it didn't, make me sound that smart, but,
you can just leave out the second.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, exactly. I ended up, I played quarterback in high school, and then never got drafted. So I thought I was going to get drafted out of high school. Never did. And that's what happens out there, guys. Whoever's listening to this, young players, parents, you can be as good or whatever. It may not happen, and it didn't happen with me. I didn't stay frustrated with it. It was, more disappointed that I didn't, but then went to the junior college there in my hometown in Santa Cruz and played baseball and football there. Then ended up getting drafted that year and went and played. And then one of my best buddy who was still on the football team said, you should come back and play. And I actually did. So not sure that was the smartest thing to do, but had a lot of fun.
Baseball was where you made your name, where you dedicated your life's work. And we talked about your rookie season. You hit 9 home runs. And then the next season, you led the National League in caught stealing percentage, 41.5%. So you were a great catcher, not just you made it to there, but you have some accolades under you. What, from you being a player, do you carry into you being a manager now?
Well, I think, everybody says that catchers always, make the best managers. And in a sense, that's true. It can be anybody, to be honest. But, when you're a catcher, you're kind of the captain, I say it, or leader or coach or manager on the field at the time. So you got to kind of know where everybody's going, what everybody's doing, what the responsibilities are. And that's the fun part for me. And I think that's how I see the game too. It's not easy just to see the game. I had worked with Andy Schatzley over the last 3 years, in Double-A as a bench coach for Andy. And we talked all the time. Actually learned a lot from him too. Hopefully he doesn't see that and hear that, but learned a lot of stuff from him. And, we were talking one day, we talked so much, and he said, we both see the game, and he's young. He's a lot younger than me, and he sees the game. It was surprisingly so good. And he asked me this question, and he said, "Did you listen to the radio growing up? Listening to baseball games?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I bet you that's why you see the game, because over the radio you had to kind of listen to the words and then him describe or her describe what's going on in the game. So you had to see it in your mind without being at the field." And I think when he said that, I said, man, that totally makes sense. And I think that did help me. But that part of it is a big part of managing. And then it's just like I said, it's handling people. It's handling different personalities. You got to kick somebody in the butt. You got to pat somebody on the back. You got to talk very nicely in a way, and then sometimes firmly. There is a way to do it, and not everybody's good at it. And I feel like over all the years and my personality, it leads to having those good relationships with players to where if you have any criticism, constructive criticism or teaching, they know that you still love them, you still care about them. And as long as you don't stay mad at them, which I don't, and I don't have a doghouse. I don't have that. I played for managers that did, and it's not good. But if they understand that, they'll run through a brick wall for you. They really will. And we have a great group of kids here in Tri-City. And over the years that I've had all these kids that I've had underneath me, the relationships that I've gained. And then as a coach, you see the development in these kids and how they grasp the things that you're actually talking about and teaching them. And when you see that, it's no different than a teacher or anybody at school, and the kids are getting it and they're getting good grades, and you're like, man, you're getting through to them. So those things make me, it keeps me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing.
And with that being said, talking about the players that fans can come watch, let's highlight a few of them. We see Ryan Nicholson has the at-bat so far, 3 home runs. Let's start on the hitting side. What are the names of the Dust Devils that are really standing out right now for the organization?
Good question. We have a young team, and it's going to take a while for kids to catch up to the league a little bit. Some kids just naturally have it, but it usually takes time. Ryan, who's coming out of college, has not exceeded any of my expectations. I always expect a lot from my players, but Ryan's done a really good job offensively for us. Placencia has done a really good job. A guy that's been around 3 or 4 years. And he should be doing what he's doing in a sense, but you can't just expect that. But he's really doing a good job. And De Jesus, a young player who was our player of the year in the organization with the Angels, minor league player of the year, started off slow, started to get it back. So I see some things. Rio Foster has had some good games. Another young kid. Like I said, we're just young across the board. We don't have a lot of older guys, and it just takes time. So what we really try to talk about, even from the offensive standpoint, and still work every day. Ray Willie, our hitting coach, has done a really good job with these guys. He's a patient guy, and you have to be patient with these young players. So you get his tutelage and this game experience, being able to play a lot. You're going to have some up and downs for sure, and that's the game of baseball, actually. So, but those 3 or 4 guys right there have done a nice job for us to start the season off. And we hopefully I always have a saying, I should make some T-shirts or something that says, hitting is contagious, somebody gets sick. But nobody's done that. So if anybody takes this off the YouTube, you owe me if you work that in somewhere on a T-shirt.
I love it. And Ryan Nicholson, a 10th round draft pick out of Kentucky. And moving over to the pitching side, and it is tough, being a high A team, but you're getting a lot of young players. Austin Gordon has been good for you guys, but let's walk through now pitching for the Dust Devils. What have you seen?
Well, I've seen a lot of good young arms, man. I think I jinxed them yesterday. I do a pregame every Tuesday with Doug, and I had mentioned that I think our relievers were number 1 in the league in ERA. Our starters were second. And, of course, yesterday's game was 12-3 with a lot of earned runs, and that includes Austin, who's been really pretty good for us. Didn't have his best outing, obviously, and he knows that. And then our relievers came in, and we played a good club yesterday in Hillsborough, so nothing away from them. But our pitching's been really good. We got some good young arms. I think we've got some help on the way for the upper levels for the Angels and possibly quite possibly the big leagues. In fact, we just sent up Victor Maderos went up to the big leagues after last night's game. So, and he's been there before, but we have solid pitching across the board, lefty and righties. So that's why we're 8-8. We have good pitching, we play solid defense, and we get enough hits when we need to be where we are. Winning isn't everything, but it's something that has to be on their minds, because once you get to the big leagues, you have to win. I mean, that's where you have to win. So you got to learn somewhere. And as a coach and as a staff, you have to, how do you navigate wanting to win and then development at the same time? And I think you can do both. And it's just, that's kind of what's helped me through all the experiences I've had coaching. I think I'm really good at doing that. And as long as they have a scoreboard on and they're keeping score, you got to want to win.
Absolutely. And being 8-8, I was asking somebody about you that's interviewed you before, doing my pre-show notes, and they said one thing about Dan, he likes to win, as you should. So with what you've seen, a young team, just talked about some good things. What do you want to work on moving forward that's going to be imperative for the Dust Devils getting some W's in that column?
Well, I think we keep doing what we're doing. We're really I got a really good staff. Doug Henry's our pitching coach, has a ton of experience. Trevor Knipes, our bench coach, and he's, man, you're talking about a guy that has very knowledgeable, a young coach that's knowledgeable about infield stuff. And he's been fun to be around because he's young and he's trying to absorb a lot of the stuff that I've gone through over the years, and he's done a good job of that. Ray Willie Gomez, our hitting coach, obviously trainers, strength coach. We just have a good staff, and the players like each other. What's funny? I don't care what, you see interviews after any championship season, NBA, NHL, NFL, I don't care what, any team sport, soccer or whatever. The first thing that usually comes out of everybody's mouth is what a locker room we had. We were like a family. We were all together. We cared about each other. We loved each other. You hear it every time. It doesn't matter what sport. So the camaraderie we have right now in our locker room and our guys together, working together, it's really, really kind of a neat thing to watch. And so if we can keep that, along with the teaching that we do, doing the small things correctly, the fundamentals, all the little things, whether it's hitting the cutoff man at the right spot, doing our double cuts, running the bases correctly, all these little things. And I was fortunate to be with the Cardinals for, 15 years coaching there. And Tony La Russa was there when I was there. And he said something to me that kind of resonated. He said, you do all these little things, it's a little thing. Pretty soon you do all these little things, and now it's a huge thing. And so that's what we kind of preach. We do all these little things. If we can do them the right way, we're going to be in many games. I mean, last night, like I said, we got our butts kicked, and that's okay. It only counts as one loss, by the way. It doesn't count extra losses if you get beat by 1 run or 10 runs. So, we come back today. We'll hopefully be a better team today, which I think we will. But you do all those little things the right way, you're going to be in every game. I think every game that we've played, except 2, we've been a swing away from tying it or we're up. So, as long as you stay that competitive, and then you look at your club being young and maybe not being, hot offensively at the same time, and we're still 8-8. I'm proud of this team right now. I'm proud of how they work at what they do, and I'm proud of the locker room. And I think if that continues, come out and watch us. They're a fun team to watch.
Dust Devils in Hillsborough, as we're catching up with Dan Bilardello, manager for the Dust Devils, and Tri-Cities returns home next week for a stand with Spokane Indians right down the road. Tuesday, 6:30, first pitch. Dan, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in Tri-Cities next week, and for the draft's sake, go Cowboys.
Come on, Jerry, do something. Come on, get me excited about something. I mean, every year it's I love Jerry. Everybody gets on Jerry, but I love Jerry. I don't care what people say. I love Jerry. I think he's been a good owner. I don't listen to all that stuff out there, but hopefully he'll do something. Supposedly they are, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Thanks,
well, we can get excited for the Dust Devils. Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Jamie, thank you. All right. Be good.
Well, that wrap up this week's show of the Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, the Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. You can listen to the show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Sports Council, and it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. Until next time, I'm Jamie Council. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports programming.